Hello and welcome to another week of Austin Crypto Millionaire. I believe Lori is waiting to be added. Hello, Lori. I just added you audio wise.
Okay, hi.
Hey, how's this week going?
It's going good. I haven't worked on my HEX though.
Okay, well, did you think of anything?
No, I didn't. I barely. I got a lot of notes from our last meeting.
Yeah. So you asked me about some of the chains, and I didn't have answers to it, so I went and looked, and um, I I think I forgot again.
So
Coin.
I've got your webinar advertisement in front of. I
Uh-huh.
see you over here on the left, but
Uh-huh. Do you see yourself as well?
no, I see it. I see myself in the advertisement.
Okay. So you have to enable your camera if it is that you want to join me.
Do
Right
I
now,
share?
yeah, try sharing. Maybe exit and come back
Oh,
in and see where
uh-oh.
the button is to add your camera. So
Start cam.
what you're looking at right now is my screen,
Oh, I
and
am.
then I'm live off to the side. I'm off to the left. Oh, there you are. I think the exit button is right next to one of the camera buttons. So I think she just rug pulled herself. That's a term we have in cryptocurrency. She asked about Dogecoin last time. It has its own blockchain. I wasn't able to answer that last time. Doge has its own blockchain. Litecoin has its own blockchain. Yep. Litecoin has its own blockchain. And Tron and Polygon as well. Polygon works off to the side as an extension. Polygon, yes, it has its own blockchain because it's so different. Hello, hello.
Hi.
It works this time.
Okay, now though,
So
I still have
so
the ad. I have the ad in front of.
right, I do too.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Oh, because
sharing the
I'm on
screen.
yours.
So you're see how I'm moving my hands right here?
Yeah.
So that this portion is live, but this portion is a screenshot. It's sharing my screen, so I have these tabs up, and I was just gonna walk us through some of these tabs as we
Okay.
talk. So last time we talked, I couldn't answer whether Dogecoin was its own chain, and it is its own chain, and and
Oh,
and so is Litecoin and Shiba as well. Have you heard of Shiba?
I have.
I don't recommend these coins,
Oh,
um, but I wanted to be able to answer those questions, or I don't know, feel better about myself not knowing the answer to that question last time.
so you said Shiba is has a chain?
That is its own coin. So is
Yeah.
Dogecoin.
Yes.
I mean, own chain.
Okay.
So it's the HEX token operates on the Ethereum chain.
Yeah. But okay, so if they have Hex only operates on the Ethereum chain?
Yes, but
Okay.
in the future, there will be the entrepreneur is making another chain in order to house Hex in a more friendly environment. So the things that Hex does, the fees for it will be cheaper.
When
And
he creates his own chain
when he creates his own chain,
and he's
and
not on the Ethereum chain.
yeah, yes, it's being worked on right now, and
Okay.
it hasn't been released yet, and we've been going through like these fundraising time periods recently that we call sacrifices, because it's structured in such a way that it mitigates taxes.
Okay.
But that's in the future, where we'll have a very efficient chain, um, and it'll work in the favor of Hex. And this way that like fees will be so cheap that somebody that's working at Sonic and only has like $10 to see if they can earn interest on for a very short amount of time period, like maybe $10 for 10 days, then they can actually do that sort of thing. Right now, it's advised that uh, s- you use larger amounts of money for a longer amount of time because
Hmm.
because of the fees, the expense of the fees.
Okay. So yeah, see, I haven't read my notes prior to this meeting.
It's all good. Just it would be nice if you read them right now and ask me whatever question you want to fill in or go over the top of.
I got the date 2/20/19.
2/20/19.
I thought, hey, this isn't right.
That's 12 2/20/19.
Right. I just put
Oh,
I didn't put 22 on it because I'm working on some 2019 financials. So I put the wrong date on it. But I think it was on February 20th when we met up.
okay. Um well, that time period though, I could have been doing a blog post in order to tell people about that. That might have been when I started a blog post
Oh,
to tell people about Hex
so when you
over
say,
on.
okay, so do you have a blog now?
So it's a friend of mine's website where he writes things about permaculture, and it's the largest permaculture website in the world. It's called permies.com, permies.com, and in a forum format. And so, in one of the forums that is dedicated to financial, then I made a post about Hex token. And back then it was called Bitcoin Hex because the idea was to replace Bitcoin, to program a better money than Bitcoin. And
Oh,
it just ended up being a token that you would deposit for a time period. That way you could resist selling it when it went up in value.
oh, okay. Makes sense. So, okay, so on permies.com is permaculture, and
Mhm.
there's a forum there that's dedicated to finance.
Yes.
And then you were saying that you had posted on there.
In
Um,
February, I think, of 2019.
oh, okay.
And I started telling people that there was this entrepreneur who was releasing his own coin. He talked about money as like a libertarian,
Oh,
and I really liked what he had to say. So I stayed posted, but also kept others posted on the topic there, and it's recorded. You know, people can
oh,
um, go back through it and see the time progression, chronological order, and how no one was talking about this stuff back then, and it's still relatively new to the crypto market.
uh,
I mean, it's new to people's eyes because they've been closed-minded about what they believe. They've been very stuck on what they believe crypto is supposed to be instead of being open-minded.
mm-hmm.
And like I told you last time, it's a Hex is a token that's a time deposit on the blockchain. It works exactly like something that you would get at the bank.
All right, and then so he has quite a bit of associates, I guess, if we would call ourselves associates, that are lending crypto, right? Via the via HEX. Is that
So remember last time how we talked about the process of acquiring HEX token? And
well that
then
it
once you
rides on top of the chain,
on Ethereum?
Ethereum, right?
Yeah. So we have to get out of our cash and into crypto and then acquire HEX token in order
Mm-hmm.
to submit the HEX token to the HEX contract. And the contract is what you're making a deal with. And the contract says, I'll give you this certain interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, yeah, I'll take that. But you have to stay honorable to your stake.
Yeah.
If you decide to quit early, it'll penalize you. And if you lose track of it and allow it to run late, then it'll penalize you as well. And so whenever it is that you take your HEX token and you submit it to that contract, the HEX token is burnt and it's not in the system anymore. And it awards your address with a share amount. And those shares decide what you get in the end. It decides your interest rate. And so then whenever it is time for you to pull back out, when you've reached 100% of the time limit that you said you were going to stake for, then you run the function again with the contract. You interact with just that contract. It's you and the contract. There's nobody in between you and the contract. When you run that function, then it gives you HEX tokens back. It creates them, it mints them. And then now you have your principal plus your interest in your wallet, and it's all in HEX tokens. So what you want to do with that is up to you, whether you want to restake it or bring it out of the system back into fiat and pay some bills with it, or buy a car.
And so at this point, with the HEX token, you have to have Ethereum, right?
HEX token operates on top of the Ethereum blockchain,
Mm-hmm.
so it requires Ethereum to move it around.
And so, for instance, you're, let's just play a role play. You are wanting to borrow some Ethereum. No, let's see, right? You're wanting to borrow some Ethereum. I have some. So there's a contract, and I'm going to purchase so many HEX tokens that represent the amount of Ethereum. Is that right?
Um, get rid of the word borrow
Okay.
because we're talking about a time deposit store of value
Okay.
that is um, a certain niche inside of currency. So we have this ecosystem where different values are being brought to the contract at different times. Um, and so because this is a store of value, it there's a contract that destroys the amount of tokens whenever you interact with it, and it decides it gives you a share amount, and then when it is that your allotted time is, or your decided time is over, then you're going to turn those shares back into the hex token. So there's no, like, that contract is like a ghost. Like I'm just some entity where it's
Mhm.
it's a wall or a black hole. It's a place that is always honest, but nothing happens beyond it. Instead, it creates the system. It creates the feedback. So it only creates hex tokens, and hex tokens have a price out on the market. And when you bring your hex tokens to this contract and interact with it and wait out a time period, it recognizes you and it mints you more later. And so you have your principal plus your interest. So
In
you have
hex
more
tokens.
tokens. Yeah, you have more tokens then. But
And
there's
then,
but
oh, go
there's a
ahead.
price out there on the market. People are buying this and people are trading it. So you can
But
go out to that market with those hex tokens and you can get a dollar value for them. And you can move those dollars around and the dollar value coins, and you can turn those into cash fiat.
mhm,
Or you could decide that you wanted um, more of a position in any cryptocurrency. So you could go take your hex tokens to a market and say, I want more Ethereum, or I want to trade this for Bitcoin.
mhm. And so now the tokens, are they a percentage of the whole of like an Ethereum coin?
Um,
Is that where the percentage comes in? Because, last time you were talking about, for instance, the holding of cash in your bank produces, very small amount of interest.
so I'm trying to get the idea of the blockchain versus the token that sits on the blockchain. I'm trying to get that idea across. And then we can talk about the amount of interest that you're making.
Okay, okay, okay. Well,
So there's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, there's Dogecoin, there's Litecoin, there's Shiba, there's all these different blockchains out there. And Ethereum has made it to where you can build on top of it. It's like it's a network that you can build your own project on top of.
okay, hold
Now,
on. Hold on a minute.
yeah.
So all these coins you mentioned
Yeah,
have their own blockchain.
I didn't mention Hex. I mentioned
Right,
I
right,
mentioned these other ones. Yeah.
right.
They're
But
all their own blockchain for you to build or for you to interact with.
okay. And that's
Okay.
just the way it is. Every coin has its own blockchain.
Um, Often the coins have a blockchain, but sometimes we call them tokens, and those rest on top of blockchains. So they're a project that's been built on top of a blockchain. So there's the blockchain itself,
Hmm.
and then there might be a project built on top of it. And so each one might have a value, a dollar value. So
Okay.
Bitcoin has a blockchain,
Uh-huh.
Litecoin has a blockchain, Doge, Shiba Inu, um, all of the and Ethereum. These are all blockchains,
Hmm.
and they they have value to the coins.
The
Like
blockchains do.
the blockchain has value, and it's represented in the coin that represents it, and that's where the gas comes in, right? To get anything done on a blockchain, you need to pay gas.
Hmm.
So it happens to be that Ethereum is the best blockchain to build on at the moment.
Hmm.
So people go and they build a project on top of that blockchain. And so whenever they interact with that blockchain, they have to pay the gas fee. So it's like paying your tax on the land, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you want something done, whenever you want to do business, whenever you want to do commerce. So so Hex is one of many tokens that are built on top of the Ethereum blockchain. And these tokens that are built on top of Ethereum or any of the blockchains, they also hold their own price. They have a dollar value. So not only does the Ethereum coin have a value, but the HEX token has a value, and they're separate.
Mm-hmm.
Like if one goes up, maybe the other one doesn't. Like they're separate price does not correlate most of the time.
So there's more tokens than just HEX. There's
Yeah.
competition with our guy.
But what does their token do?
What
Hex
can tokens do?
Hex's token is a time deposit.
Okay.
All the other tokens, they do different things or
Oh,
appeal to your nature of being rare in some other way. Like
kind of
there
like
has to be a
NFT.
reason to want it, right?
Kind of like NFT.
Um,
Do you use
so
those tokens for NFTs? No.
I believe that NFTs are uh, really blew up on Ethereum.
Uh-huh.
So they might have gained popularity in other blockchains, NFTs.
Mm-hmm. So our token. Okay. Shoot. See,
You
I
could say that
got
an
the
NFT is a
disconnect.
unique token.
Do what?
You could say that an NFT is a unique token,
Per
sort of
like.
like I'm not praising the NFT for this, but you could maybe say that that there's a hex token. Say there's a hex token, and it looks like another 100x hex tokens in your wallet, right?
Yeah.
But maybe an NFT looks like one unique token as opposed to all these others that um, like that was a bad example,
Well,
but
for instance, let's just say you bought a Picasso,
yes,
right? So is that Picasso has its own token?
that's what NFTs mean to tell you. Either it's one of a kind or it's one of a few
Mm-hmm.
released, a limited edition.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then, for instance, say it's a true Picasso original, then it is identified with a certain type of token, like with a Picasso token. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't think that that idea is fully encapsulated. Like I don't think that applies.
Okay. Well, we kind of got
So
off subject, right?
NFTs are so new. They're trying to find what their value is, what makes them unique.
They're scary, man.
Yes, they are because it just takes a flip of a switch to make it all go away.
Well, and it's the talk of the town, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, and that's why it's scary then, right?
Yeah. Okay, so now we're talking about. Let me just repeat what you said about what. Um, Now this is a time deposit, and the
Yeah,
contract makes it a stored value because that's where the value comes in, right?
right.
Okay.
Because there's no it's not that you're lending the coins. The contract is the authority. You're reporting back to the originator of this currency, and you're making a deal with it.
You mean like Satoshi, for instance, originator of the coin, or
No,
Joe Blow?
there's actually code that's wrapped up in a contract format that you interact with via your software interface. So
Okay.
you have your software, and you go and seek out that contract, and you say, hey, contract, how do you work? Like, what if I submitted 100 hex tokens to you right now for 100 days? What interest rate would you give me back? And from then on, it's tracked. Once you run the function to do that action, then the contract recognizes you by your address. And then when your time is up, you come back to the contract and you say, hey, I waited this time. You recognize me from before. Please run the function uh, to create the principal plus the interest. And then now you have more hex tokens in your wallet.
Okay, now the software, I need to download some software to
Oh,
read,
right.
right?
Right.
To read the unique code for the contract.
Okay. MetaMask. MetaMask.io. So this is a wallet that you can add to your browser. It's metamask.io.
So that's a wallet. And
Yes.
so I'd have to get that certain wallet and not have a, one of the other wallets.
There are multiple ways of going about this. But yeah, I recommend this one.
Do you? For
And
everything? I mean, for all of your crypto work?
yes.
Do you? Because I'd like to know. I appreciate you saying that because it's hard to navigate through all the different, wallets and exchanges, really.
Well, it matters what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've found that like people who are very computer savvy, just everything's a means to an end. And so if it is that um, an exchange is set up and they want to make money on it, then they just go and use it and they keep up to date on it, and
Mm-hmm.
then they get away from it whenever it's starting to fail. And this is the way that crypto used to be. This is the irresponsible crypto where it's just constantly moving, scammers all over the place. What we're doing is we're doing a store of value for a long period of time. We're cleaning up crypto, keeping people responsible, keeping people loyal to a coin. And so,
So it's not. I mean, you're only making a higher percentage, for instance. You're making a higher percentage of interest, for instance, versus my money at Truist Bank or something, right?
well, that and the unhealthy way that of a trader, where you're always worried about something, you lose quite a bit of the time. You continue to come back thinking that you're going to be the winner, and chances are um, the percentages are against you. 70% of people lose their money. That's why the exchanges are able to run,
Mm-hmm.
besides taking fees from both sides whenever people are stealing money from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how you knew that well whenever we mentioned that last time,
Mm-hmm.
where the exchanges, they don't care who's losing money as long as they're making a fee.
Sure. Well, same with Schwab or any of the others, right? The other brokers.
Yeah. So this this wallet will allow you to download it and keep it in your browser, and then delete it from your browser whenever you write down all the passcodes.
Mm-hmm.
You can delete it from your browser, and then if you do get hacked, then um, it won't be there.
Right.
It'll be on a piece of paper. You're in your passcode format.
Right.
Just all the information. And then I as I told you last time, and I gave you a link to this. This
Yes.
is my 10-page PDF to walk people through my
And I
experience in crypto.
yes, and I printed it out, but I didn't read it yet.
Well, it has all of the links, and it has QR codes for the links as well. So I
It's a
tried to
great
make it
document.
as friendly as possible.
Mhm.
And
Great
then,
document.
thank you. And then this is go.hex.com.
Yeah.
This is the staker tab.
Wait, hold on a second. Go.hex.com. Yeah, I haven't looked on here. Okay, yeah, the staker tab. Okay.
Yeah. And then whenever it is that you have your wallet installed on this browser, go.hex.com will recognize it, and it'll allow you to attach your wallet and conduct stakes from this page right here. And so um, this is the place where you put how much hex that you're interested in staking. And then this is the amount of days that you're interested in staking. And there's a little calendar. My cursor is different on the live screen than it is on my screen here.
Uh-huh.
So right here you can drop down a menu, a calendar, in
Mhm.
order to see exactly what day. And then right here that just says max, so that's not really that great of a button. Um, so then over here there's a longer pays better, and it gives you a percentage, or no, an amount of hex added. And then here is a bigger pays better. These are bonuses. Sorry, it says stake bonus right there.
Yeah, yeah.
So it'll calculate um, about how much it'll calculate how many shares you will get, and
Oh.
that that has to do with like your placement in the code, and it recognizing your wallet address and accrediting you that those amount of shares, and those amount of shares for whatever amount of time that you last for. That decides at the end of your stake, the mathematics will be run by the computer, the Ethereum computers, and you'll be granted hex back, your principal and your interest. So it's all based on how many shares can you get, because each day the amount of shares, or the payment per share changes each day, and we figure everything in days. I told you this thing says days here,
Mhm.
and here's the timer rundown of
Mhm.
the days. We're at day 821 right now, and we've got 23 hours until it ticks down. So we just 30 minutes ago at 6 o'clock, we just had the day changeover, and that's how everything's code. Everything comes
Mhm.
down to digits, and so that's
Mhm.
how this stuff's calculated to days.
So when you say 821 days, does that mean that you're not showing your contract here that's lasted 821 days?
The hex has been going on for
Oh.
821 days. It was 821 days ago that
Mhm.
Richard Hart inserted the contract into the Ethereum blockchain. And I'm
Okay,
not
so
sure. I'm not sure like how much money it takes to insert a contract. It might have cost him like $5,000 to insert it. $5,000 worth of Ethereum in order
mhm.
to get Ethereum to write it into the blockchain. Or maybe it only costs like $40, or maybe it was $2. I really don't know what it takes to implant something into the Ethereum blockchain. But that long ago was whenever it was implemented. And then after that, the people who want to use the HEX token, they have that contract's address. The address is just a bunch of digits and numbers,
Mhm.
and we can call upon that contract. And so this website right here, this interface, all it's doing is calling upon that contract whenever it's telling you, whenever you're inserting the values of how much hex and how long you're going to stake it, it's going to interact with the contract. It's going to refer to the contract and read it for you and say, this is the amount of shares that you're going to get. And um, uh, then each day, the system, the ecosystem of people involved will, like all the wallets that hold hex or all the wallets that stake hex and everybody in the hex ecosystem, um, those are all of their actions are going to decide how much hex is paid out per share per day as we march day by day by day by day down the system.
So you get on this site and you say, I've got 1,000 hexes,
Mm-hmm.
and you're ready to stake them for 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
So you put that in the fields.
Here and here.
Mm-hmm. And then it computes over in the graph how much you would make.
It computes right here.
Yeah.
This is a graph that isn't populated right now. However, it could be. This shows you the value of shares, how the value of shares have just gone up. It's not going to show you something relative to this other portion.
Oh, what type of shares?
So,
Hex?
so whenever it is that you submit, um, whenever it does the calculation of how many shares you're going to get when you press this button to start a stake,
Mm-hmm.
um, it written into the contract is a function that continues to increase the share price and make shares less available. So whenever it is that you put time after time, like as every day rolls over, if you continue to put the same values in here, you'll see that you'll get less shares out of the system. Shares are uh, deflationary. They're harder to get over time. When people end their stakes, it's
And
recorded into the contract to make them harder to get. So,
boy, you got to repeat that, boy.
um, as time goes on and more people interact with the contract, shares become less and less available. So it costs more hex and longer time periods to get the same amount of shares.
Okay, hold on now. Because we're talking about supply and demand.
So this is programmed money. This is a money system um, that's teaching you to get in earlier and stake longer.
Mm-hmm.
And so because it's programmed money, they're taking aspects of what works on. I'm trying to stay away from the word of stickiness, but like it's literally programmed to be more rare over time. And so your interest rate is better today than it will be tomorrow. And it's just going to continue to be more deflationary as time goes on because it's written into the contract. The contract knows to do this. Whenever more people operate with it, it takes steps to make the interest rate more and more rare so that you'll want to immediately continue to be involved.
But when you say continue, does that mean that you keep your stake?
So if you had a stake that
Let's
became
call it
due,
$1,000.
if you had $1,000 that became due,
Yeah.
then would you interact with the contract and wrap up that $1,000 for another amount of time, or would you take it out of the system? Because if you did it right then and there, you would get a much better interest rate than if you came back next week and tried to do it.
Okay. So say, for instance, that a person had $10,000,
Yeah.
and they wanted to make, and I'm just going to make this up because we don't know what the interest rate's really going to be. Okay, so person has $10,000 and they want a 5% interest rate. So they enter into this contract with HEX tokens via Ethereum coins. Is that right?
Um, the the pronunciation is Ethereum,
I'm sorry. Yes.
and Ethereum is just the blockchain. It's just the landscape that
Yeah.
we're so so when Ethereum is the gas. So if I want to interact with using, so if I have Hex tokens and I go to this website and I submit those Hex tokens into this, then it's going to cost me Ethereum gas, but also I'm going to be operating or interacting with the Hex contract. And so it's going to cost me those Hex tokens as well, the amount of Hex tokens that I said I would do without. So does that answer your question?
Okay, so yeah, let's talk in numbers. Okay, so let's just say I got 10 grand and
Mhm.
I'm going to have to pay gas fees, and I'm willing to spend invest, I guess, 10 grand, but I'm going to have to reduce it by the gas fees for the transaction,
Right.
for this transaction and the sale transaction, or
All transactions.
for all transactions. So I'm kind of have to compute that with the interest rate that is showing here to know what kind of return I'm going to get back.
Because you're thinking in dollars. But
Well,
if you got closer to the source and talked about things in hex terms, then you could say, okay, I'm submitting 5,000 hex tokens
uh-huh,
and I could get a return of um I don't know, you like let's say 5,050 hex
okay.
tokens. So at the end of it, you would have 5,050 hex tokens. And then you could decide what you want to do with that. Do you want to take it out to the market and sell it for US dollars? Or do you want to resubmit it in order to lock up the interest rate of today and interact with this contract again because it didn't burn you? You got what you thought you were going to get out of it. So every time you make a an action,
Hmm.
then you have to pay that gas fee.
How does that normally, how much does a gas fee, how much is it normally? Is it it's a percentage of the
When
transaction?
it's not a percentage. And when I first started with doing this sort of thing back in late 2017, it was much cheaper than it is now. It would cost me cents, and now it costs me tens of dollars. So sometimes at the end, it might cost me $30 to end a
Hmm.
stake, or it might cost me $60.
But every time I transact, I'm going to pay gas fees.
You're going to pay gas fees, but it's they vary because what you're asking the computers to do, um, you're asking them to do different functions,
Hmm.
and so each function may interact in a different way. So some of them might be more labor intensive than others.
Hmm. You just don't know unless you get some experience behind you, right?
Well, you'll find out that ending a hex stake costs a lot more than starting a hex stake
Uh-huh.
because when you end a stake, then the uh, the computers have to look at all of the days individually, all of the days that you have been staked for, and decide, okay, they do the mathematics of, okay, you waited all of these. I forgot how many days you said, but it does the calculations of what was awarded tokens for each of those days, and then it comes to the sum, and it gives you back the principal, and it gives you that interest.
And you have found that there is a return, and it's a decent return on
Yeah,
these
it's great.
transactions?
Everything's been wonderful.
So, let me ask you this. Um, I mean, I know we're talking about time value, or what do we call it? Time deposits. Um, so normally on savings accounts, the bank wants you to put an amount in there, and then they make money, and they pay you a little chunk, right? Because they use that money for investing, say. Who's the other side of this contract? Who's on the other side of this contract?
There isn't one to lend it out the other side.
Huh?
No one's lending it out the other side. This is Richard Hart right here,
Uh-huh.
the creator of this,
Uh-huh.
and he recently did a live Peter Schiff interview.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch that.
Okay, so in that, um, Peter and he were talking about how whenever it is that a bank um, takes a deposit, then they actually don't lend that money out. Instead, they lend out the government's money that
Yes.
that is um,
Yeah.
that is created, from I say the government's money, but I'll say the Fed's money.
Sure.
And so that's all just created monetization. So what we're arguing is that our 3.69% inflation that floods into the system, along with all the other working parts, makes um, a very good system. Like this is the first blockchain, or this is the first certificate of deposit in cryptocurrency, um, identifying itself as a store of value, a currency. And so we're beating everybody to the punch. And it's one of the only areas of finance that can be done right now with the technology. So whenever it is like, where am I putting this value? Everything's in the community using the token, using the ecology. It's relying on Ethereum always being desired. It's relying on our connectivity, our awareness towards store values.
So it's cutting out central banks and the Federal Reserve, right?
Yeah, this is a store of value outside of that. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And it can't be inflated.
It's a set inflation right now. That I mean, not right now, but it's a set inflation that's written into the code. The thing cannot be changed.
So when you say inflation, that means, I mean, when I think about inflation, I'm thinking about the budget.
Right. So when I say inflation, I mean like the technical term
Okay.
of you have a whole, and um, how much is that whole increased, and so it's just a healthy amount of inflation per year. So it's hard for people to be in crypto already and try to say that a coin is kind of like a share in a company,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard for people to have the responsibility of their own finances
Mm-hmm.
and talk about these things. So whenever it is that people come to crypto, they might be convinced that a certain person has something figured out. And so they just follow that person for
Mm-hmm.
advice.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really understand if the token or coin has any utility.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so there's different there people are in different places in their mindset of what finances and money should be. So sometimes it's hard for somebody to come into this space and be like, "Oh, I have digitized value that's that's just floating around on the computer." But it's computer code. There's set distribution. It's mathematics. It can't just vanish. It has to crunch. It
Mm-hmm.
has to work together. And so everything with value in cryptocurrency is who's going to use it? Are people using it? It's the people that give a currency value.
Mm-hmm.
It's the organization of the people. So Bitcoin has gotten quite a few people to take it up as a currency.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has a lot of wallets, and we can see those wallets because everybody's anonymous, but we're able to see this activity because the blockchain isn't secret. And the same thing for the Ethereum blockchain. We can see this activity. And so some of the things that my community says is money will go where it's treated best. So people enjoy interacting with Hex token and the contract, then they just continue to come back. So it's an entire system. It's an ecosystem, and it's it's a piece of it's a financial tool, and it's hard to accept um, something other than a government's money as a having a value.
Sure. Well,
Um,
except for, like Visa, I think, right? And um, I don't know, several large corporations, they're accepting crypto,
mm,
right?
I thought you were going to talk about Visa stock compared to Fed money or something. Um,
Oh God.
yeah, I don't know. Are they accepting people pay bills or people um, do they operate with companies that only use crypto or allow companies to do like safe transactions in crypto? I wonder if
I
a
think it's
per-
individuals.
I wonder if an individual has to load up an account with cryptocurrency that is owned by Visa, because that's where we've had problems in the past,
Oh, really?
where in order to in order to have the service of a company, they'll create you an account and you bring your crypto into that account. But whenever anything happens, they can just take off with your crypto
Oh,
because you brought it out of your own wallet and you put it in an account for them.
yeah. Well, like if you want to pay off your Visa bill, can't you just send them some Bitcoin?
I have no idea.
I thought, I thought so.
Okay, that's interesting. I'll look that up because that is another step towards adoption.
Well, it is definitely, and that's what we discussed. You and I discussed before, right? This adoption. Or I was on another call on another podcast.
Yeah, I'm not
Oh, I
sure.
know what it was. It was with Prime Trust, and that guy that has the what is it, Sage Bank, where you can buy crypto, Bitcoin through his bank. and they were on a call with Prime Trust. Are you familiar with Prime?
No.
Okay, because they're big, and
Okay.
they're. I'd have to look at my notes to be able to talk intelligently, though.
Well, where are they located? Like, are they in the United States?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they were talking about that a large adoption of this needs to happen, of course, especially when we're considering uh, regulation by the different countries and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need to have the power, I guess, or not we, but Bitcoin and some of the altcoin, whatever coin, Ethereum, or they need to have a large following and investors in, like me, just individual investors or owners, I guess, right, of the coins.
Well, so if you're talking about a bank, a bank wants to be this custodial of your wallet, and that's what Bitcoin is getting away from,
No, I'm
where
not.
you're the custodian of your own.
No, I'm not talking about a bank.
Okay.
Um,
And so these people were saying that they need to have a share of these cryptos
no,
before the next kickoff, or they're
no.
advising people.
I'd have to get my notes.
Okay.
Um,
But they are seeing that there's some importance to cryptocurrency, that it
oh yeah.
has.
Well, they're
Yeah.
behind it 100%. It was three. It was a panel discussion. It was with three people. One of them was the one that. See, I bought some Bitcoin through this Sage Trust. Well, like I said, I got to get my notes out to be able to talk to you about this. Hey, you weren't at the Libertarian meetup.
Was that what was that? Just
No.
last Friday? Or whenever
It
I
was,
left, whenever we split, I went over there.
oh, are you going to the north one or the south one?
Yeah, the north one.
You are, okay.
Yeah.
Because I went to the south one, and it was me and a woman and a guy. And that was it. And I
Oh,
thought that you
okay.
were going to be there because, I'd like to see you face to face and talk further.
We'll come to the north one next time.
When is it? Do you know, or do they? I don't think
Well,
I'm on the thread.
it's the fourth Thursday. Is it Thursday? The fourth Tuesday of the month. So I think it probably is the
29?
same
Oh,
schedule.
22nd? It's going to be on March 22nd?
I'm not sure. I just wait until about that sounds about right. I just wait till about that time and make sure I have my date right and head over there. But I also go to um, the virtual reality, Zoom meeting here with Bitcoin right after this stuff.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah.
So
See, I went
on
on
the
that.
libertarian days, I'll skip it.
Hmm. Yeah, because I've got a 7 o'clock right now. Is that the one you're going to go to?
Yeah, yeah. So that one, I'm probably gonna take a break and then uh, come back to it.
I'd really like to talk to you about that panel
Well,
discussion I had, or I mean, I watched.
I'm not cutting us off right now. If
Oh,
you
you're not?
wanna, if you wanna send me links or
I got,
find your notes.
yeah.
So if you went to richardhart.com,
Mm-hmm.
there's a website set up to give him a public face for PR.
Yeah, man, I've got so many notes.
You can also review these videos later
So,
on.
what's the URL?
.com.
RichardHart.com?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I've got some. If you were to go to YouTube and type in Richard Hart interview,
Okay.
the first one that pops up that's yellow and turquoise, it's a really good one.
Oh, really? Okay.
But like I say, I've got these. Um, these are this is being recorded right now, and you can search it on YouTube. I'll put it in the meetup chat later on. You could give me an email. I know you have my email now.
Uh-huh.
I could get you whatever links you ask for,
Of course, I
and
can get
then
on there myself, right, and get those links, or do I need to get it from you?
no, it everything's. I'm pretty sure I'm making everything available and transparent.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is also on YouTube. A friend of mine runs this Hex Radio app, this channel, and so if anybody was to press subscribe here,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know why I don't already have this hit subscribe. For some reason, I must have hit that earlier. Um, so I subscribe to all the other people's Hex content in my community, and oh, it's because I'm on a different account. That's why.
Oh.
So I'm trying to keep my separate accounts with different subscriptions. So what I'm trying to say here is that there's a conversation going on just about 24 hours a day, and it's broadcasted onto YouTube via this channel, the Hex Radio app. And I often tell people um, to watch this, listen to it. Um, it's there's not much to the watching because it's filled full of like things that are going on within the Hex community. And then right here, there's a guy's name, and then right below it, there's a guy's name, and these are the two guys that are talking at the moment. But
Mm-hmm.
it could be if you were on the Telegram chat room, Telegram app, and at this chat room,
Mm-hmm.
then you too, your voice would be, it recognized or whatever the case. Like whenever you speak into the microphone, it would put you right here. And so I'm just saying, like, these are real people. They're all
Mm-hmm.
around the world. They're having a conversation about mainly about PulseX right now, pulsex.com, but it's all because of the ecosystem of hex.com, the hex token. And Pulse Chain down here is another name. So Pulse Chain is the future fork of Ethereum, and Pulse X is a future token on top of Pulse Chain, just like Hex is. And the deal about Pulse X is it's meant to be the trading token. Whenever it is that people come on top of Pulse Chain,
Uh-huh.
then they'll want to get in and out of Hex whenever they're on Pulse Chain, and so like eventually there will be a US dollar equivalent coin or other coins of value or projects that are built on top of Pulse Chain. And so in order to get in and out of Hex or these other tokens, then you'll need the Pulse X. But this is like way too complicated to talk about right now, and all the implications, that are involved in it. If you haven't yet, done your first stake or anything like that.
What's 38%? Average what? Pulse
Yeah, APY, average, what is that? The percentage per year?
annual percentage?
Yeah,
38%?
yes. When you stake a long time period, your shares will be such an amount that it equates to about 38% per year.
How long is a long contract?
Um, over 10 years?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Then it's 38% per year?
It's so
Or
this is like,
average.
yeah, this is us looking back on it.
So it's
But
3.8 over
this
10
is
years.
no, 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 no. This is 38 per year.
Okay. On a 10-year contract.
I believe the mathematics is 10 year. It might be the maximum amount. It might be the 15 year.
Oh. How do you find out about the contracts and what's available?
So you're creating, um, whenever we're using the word contract.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Hex Element, who's over there in the chat, if you'd like to come on, I'd like to bring you on if you're interested. Um, Let me real fast get the link so that he can join if he wants to. Okay, so when we use the word contract, let's limit that just to the Hex contract sits on top of the Ethereum blockchain. Whenever it is that you are interested in making a stake, then you'll be over here on this
Mm-hmm.
site, and depending on what you put in these values, how much and how long, then it'll tell you what your rate of interest will be. So if you put 15 years worth in here, so it's 5555, which is the maximum amount of days that the contract will allow you to submit for, then you'll get a share rate that will represent 38% per year. And then on top of that, and we're talking about hex tokens here. So quite possibly on top of that, you'll get price appreciation of the token as well.
Um,
So like possibly the hex token goes from 15 cents to 25 cents, or let's say 15 to 30 cents. Then if it does that, you now have not only 138% of what you started out with a year ago, but you also have double the price of the token, USD value of the token. So what did you do? You almost 300%. You did like a 276, 276%.
what about inflation?
The inflation is where that 38% comes from.
It's already computed in it.
Yeah, so um, the inflation is in your staking rewards. The inflation is what makes staking so profitable. The inflation is only given to the people who stake. So there's an amount of stakers, and they compete for the inflation that's brought into the system.
Mm-hmm.
And that amount that comes into the system is 3.69% of the whole, of the total. And so um, there's something like 85% of tokens that are not staked, and there's 5% that are liquidity out on the markets. They're out in the markets, they're moving around and stuff, they're unstaked. And then there's 10% of the tokens that are staked. And out of all the 10%, those are the guys who are competing to get the entire ecosystem's 3.69% inflation. So it's only 10% of the tokens that are competing to get another 3.69%, and that equals something like 38% APY.
Because it's kind of like supply and demand.
Yeah,
The
everything
supply is
is
only
an eco.
10% of the 100, right?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And then how do I buy hexes now? I don't get it.
You first acquire crypto
Yeah.
of some sort, and then you
Hmm.
go to a website called Uniswap
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
ETHEX or Matcha or 1inch or crypto.com.
Okay, yeah, I remember I took notes on that.
Yeah, and Maybe I didn't give you the link to Hex Noob.
I
That's a
don't
good
think
one.
so.
Hi, Hex Element. How are you?
Yo, what's going on? I'm doing good, bro. How you doing?
Very good. I like that the sun has come out for 2 days in a row.
Oh my gosh, I know.
My dogs like it.
Yeah, I know. Mine does too. One of my dogs hates the cold, and the other loves it.
I got short hair for the summer. I mean, short hair
Yeah.
dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
So
this
that's Hex Noob you're showing.
Hex Noob.com. It's got the MetaMask wallet link.
Yeah.
It's got a gas calculator right
Oh,
here.
it does?
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Wow.
This I think this hex.vision right here allows you to see when other people's stakes are coming out to
Really?
see to see a forward projection of the market.
Yeah, it does.
So imagine being a person who could see when it was that people are going to sell their stocks in the future.
Yeah.
That's one of the bonuses to this cryptocurrency.
So that's an estimate because nobody really knows.
Yeah, some people could emergency in stake prior to their.
Oh, this is okay. This is showing at the end of the stakes.
It's showing people's commitments, and
Right.
so it shows what day it is that these people could mint and have this hex in their wallet. So
Mhm.
possibly they'll take it to an exchange and sell it rather than putting it back into the system. So that could make the price go down a little bit.
So at the end of your contract, for instance, if you're going to complete it, end it, you take your hexes off of there and you go to Uniswap and you convert it to Ethereum or something and then take it to your exchange.
Yes.
Okay. Where to stake? Is that a competitor, Staker.app with the hex?
Staker.app is made within our community, and they will help you secure your wallet, and they are also used as a tool to view your portfolio. So you could either have an account with them and they help you with your safety, your security, or you could just download it to your cell phone and
Mhm.
use the tool to view your portfolio. So
Use
we
the
were
Staker tool?
the staker.app. You can find that at the Apple Store.
Okay.
And so this website we were already at, we were already looking at.
That's
And
Richards.
yes, that was our visual of how long we wanted to stake and how much and how long.
Okay.
And then after you say how much and how long, you can see a table layout of all the values.
Man, I'm telling you.
And so these are ones that you had already ended, and then these are
Wow.
ones that would be active. And so after you press this button in order to start your stake, then your first stake will show up here, and it'll all be grayed out because you have to wait for the day to tick over and start your day
Mm-hmm.
because everything's figured by days. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever it is that you want to end your stake, or whenever it is that the day ticks over on the last day of your stake, then you'll have to wait till 6 p.m. for it to change its status. In this column, it'll have a little in stake button, but it'll tell you all of your values. as they add up, like how what you said your start day would be, what you said your end day would be, what is the progress on that, how much is it that you're getting paid out per day, what does it look like at the moment, what was the initial principle, and then yeah, what does it look like at the moment in US dollars as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
you
you
can see
didn't
your
tell me I
US
had to be a PhD.
yeah, it's all it's all based on math. It's a wonderful thing.
I'm
So
an accountant, but I'm not a mathematician, man. But no, I get it. I get it.
I think
I'm
the
not
hardest thing
I'm not a programmer either.
I think the hardest thing here is to say that the world has gone to this for finance,
Right.
that we're picking up the torch of our own finance.
Well, what about the magnetic pulse or something that blow us out of the water?
A lot of people think that Ethereum is going to continue to be available, and so as
Oh,
long as Ethereum's available, then the contracts on top of Ethereum will be available.
how can it be available if they take out our power, our internet? Um,
We can talk about doomsday all day,
well,
you know?
I
Like,
don't mean to.
I mean, it's like I'm not if we were really, really, really worried about it, I need to be outside gardening right now.
I know.
I can't be talking to you.
I'm doing that too, by the way.
Yeah, me too. And like I said, that that Permies.com website, I'm friends with the person who runs that.
Yeah,
So
um,
I'm all about permaculture, setting up an ecosystem to self-render for the human being.
yeah, yeah. I got 20,000 gallon swimming pool, so I got some water.
Yeah, you got some water sitting around. Hopefully that doesn't chlorine doesn't go straight to your plant roots.
Well, it.
Did I already debunk the whole thing?
Well, and then I need chlorine. How much is it?
Mm.
And then I need a solar little panel to run my pumps.
Have you been looking into solar stuff?
A little bit, I don't want to get one for the roof while I have too many trees,
Yeah.
but I'd like to get a little solar deal for my pumps, my pool pumps. But I'm not really up on, kilowatts and that, and then I don't know, I guess online I'd have to buy some kind of a unit to have the sun. Well, they have them for gates and stuff, people's gates at farms and stuff.
Right. I wonder if a centripetal pump is so much more heavy duty than a fence, because the fence is just on
Yeah,
tracks
right.
and it just turns a chain, right?
Yeah, and see, I don't know how many amps or um, wattage. I don't know
Can be
how much,
provided.
but I can look and find out, figure it out.
So I'm up here in Williamson County,
Hmm.
and we have a get together next week, and one of the subjects will be solar panels.
Really,
Yeah, I can get you in touch with these people that are attempting to organize every month now.
really.
Hmm.
Well, that's great. So it's a meetup? Because I was thinking about starting a meetup on
I don't
energy.
I don't think they're on meetup.com. Do
Great.
you have the Telegram app?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, I'll send you a link privately that
Okay,
has the Telegram app chat room, and
great.
then you can see that some of the guys at this next meetup will take 30 minutes to an hour to talk about their experience with solar energy, and
Yeah,
it's all about it's I think it's one of the freedom cell groups, so it's all based freedom.
great. Because I have an acre, so I can have my own garden and all of that if I need to.
Awesome.
I bought it on purpose like that.
You
And
bought it already fertile?
I bought the house with the acre on purpose for um, if I needed
You
to for.
you bought the amount of space.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to cut down some trees in order to have a garden, or you already have a cleared space for that too?
I've got a little bit of one. I could trim some trees. It's hard for me to get rid of these big oaks.
Yeah.
And I started, a fruit trees, but I lost one last year, and so I'm down to just two. I tried some apple trees. You can have them in Texas,
Right.
but those died as well several years back.
Hmm.
But I bought this for self sufficiency,
Well,
uh, in
the
case needed.
the best thing you can do is bring in new dirt that's got a lot of life to it and just uh, mulch over a lot of areas that you want to keep the moisture in the soil,
Yeah,
and just start planting as much as you can that would be perennial coming year after year.
yeah,
And don't worry about making mistakes. We all do them.
yeah.
You've already made some of them, so
Yes, uh-huh.
just keep having fun and buy those plants, younger, so that instead of it being a loss of $40 plant, it's a loss of $5 plant.
Oh, those trees.
Yeah, the trees. I got a bunch at like 15 and $20.
The only thing is, I'm not young.
Oh
So by
yeah,
the time they, provide fruit, I might not be around.
that's an interesting statement. I thought you were gonna go with like the work putting them in the ground.
I love digging for some reason. I'm a nut.
So that's a conversation that we have in this
Okay.
community
Yeah,
about
yeah. And you've
uh,
got my email
waiting out your.
address?
Yes. No,
Okay.
I don't have your email address, and don't give it to me right now.
Okay.
I'll send you a private message in meetup.com.
Okay. Okay.
But I wanted to say that uh, the amount of time that you think is left in your life is a
Hmm.
conversation that we have in the Hex crypto community, because
Oh,
the code allows you to stake up to 5,555 days. So
yeah.
some people don't think that they still have 15.2 years left in them.
Uh-huh.
Some people will, some people your age actually say that I think that I have, like one, two, three, 5,555 stakes within me. So they'll rate the rest of their life like, okay, well, how much can I plan this out? It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So Hex Element, what we've been doing is just getting her elementary knowledge of Hex token and cryptocurrency. We've just been brushing it up. Um, this is our second week in a row, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
and what how we met is just I created a meetup group, and she joined it, and she was the only one to show 2 times in a row. I mean, besides you right now, but this is awesome.
Yeah, and that that like 38% like APY, which is like annual percentage yield. Basically, what it means like the average length of a stake is 6 years. So whenever you stake for 6 years, then you're gonna be making about 38% APY. So if you stake longer than that, between 6 to 10 years, you're gonna be getting 38% or more. If you stake between 1 and 6, you're gonna be getting 38% or less. So it just depends on the length of your stake and all that.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's still like crazy amounts that you're not gonna get like from this financial system in America. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Well, even investing in options and,
right.
you know,
In the future, there are tools that are going to be created on Pulse Chain that will allow you. Pulse Chain is going to be the fork of Ethereum that
uh-huh,
this entrepreneur here on the screen.
uh-huh.
He's the creator of Hex, and he's creating another blockchain to house Hex. to secure Hex's future.
So he's forking
Ethereum.
Ethereum for that reason?
Yes, he's got such a grandiose mindset of where Hex needs to be that he's creating a blockchain that's going to be superior to Ethereum blockchain. And it takes years and a lot of work, and it takes money to get these people to work for you. So like he's investing in his own ideas, and he's putting a lot of time into this, but he's going to um, create another Ethereum that runs more efficiently. And by efficiently, I mean timing and uh, robustness and expenses. And with the expenses, it's going to make it to where um, we will have cheaper fees. And like I was relaying to the $10 for 10 days by the person who works at Sonic and doesn't have that much money to invest in to things. I'm trying to relate things to young kids sometimes. Um, so when he creates this other blockchain, other projects will come and build on top of that. And when they build on top of it, it will allow things like it'll start to build out an ecosystem. It'll start to allow people to do different things with their Hex token stakes. Like maybe it'll package them and allow them to leverage it. Maybe it'll allow them to borrow whenever they package it. So that stuff's out in the future. But I just wanted to say like these other tools are going to come about in the future.
It seems like if you fork another crypto that you'd be sued.
No, because I think we went over this last time.
That it's open source.
It's open source.
But still, they could change the law, couldn't they? I mean, I don't get it.
But you're not doing everything the same way.
Yeah. 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 Why not build your own coin instead of forking Ethereum? Because it already has because you're going to make your own blockchain, right?
I believe what you do is you allow the existing users to come and use yours more easily by taking the bits that are the same.
Okay.
And I also think that it's the most efficient one right now. It just needs a haircut.
Ethereum,
and some new shoes or something. And so a lot of people who are new to that are new to crypto and new to Hex, um, a lot of these people are talking about all of these new coins, the new Pulse Chain coin that hasn't been released yet, the swap token that's that Pulse X coin that hasn't been released yet. So there's a lot of talk going on, but we're all just waiting. We're waiting for the time period, and so whenever it is that I was at that Hex Radio app, a lot of the conversations that are happening live, they have to do. It's in a chat room with this name on it, Pulse X. So a lot of it has to do with Pulse X and the ecosystem that's going to be on top of Pulse Chain. But every once in a while, we'll field a question that has to do with, or like a third of the time, we'll be fielding beginners questions um, about hex.com.
Oh.
And the way that it works is people just show up to this chat room and just start talking on the microphone and asking their question. And so we're just using our voices to relate to each other.
Oh.
So we don't want to give out too much information whenever it is that we're having these conversations, like, hey, I live in Austin, Texas, and
Yeah,
like on this certain street, or
sure.
um, like, how about you call me on the cell phone at this number? And instead of going that far, but we still relate to each other. Yeah, I've got two kids, which I don't, but I'm just saying, like, people share information about where they are in the world, what they did, like how they first heard about Hex token. They might share that with people. They might share um, how it is that they onboarded somebody the other day and this certain event happened, or um, it like how to operate a wallet. Like, you can have another hardware device that connects into your computer
Mm-hmm.
that you physically press in order to give your computer or your address um, the okay to send money out of your account.
Mm-hmm.
So that added security. We can talk about the security issues to an extent in these forums, in these voice conversations. And the reason why I like to spread this to people is because you'll understand the jargon and the serious
Mm-hmm.
topics, and you'll start to get a sense of how serious people take cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all the jargon. Once it is that I'm speaking terms that don't go right over your head, and or
Yeah.
I say over your head, but it's more like that just don't hit the brick wall, because it's just terminology. It's just something you're not used to the architecture of these
Absolutely.
computers.
Mm-hmm. That's why I have a lot of notes.
Yeah. But yeah,
That's
they're
good.
they're digits, it's coding. People interact with it, therefore it has value. People wrap their stuff up in contracts. Um, and so it's sprouting out of yesterday's crypto into today's crypto, that it's more honest. There's more tools being created all the time. People are starting to see this as holding value and doing a responsible job of it. And so it just takes more and more users to to grow the ecosystem even more. And we're at a point um, where we have more freedom. We have much more freedom with our finance. And so
Mm-hmm.
whenever it is that I tell you that you have to pay your own gas fees to get something done,
Mm-hmm.
we like to relate that as it costs you money to be your own banker. Instead
Uh-huh.
of you going over to the bank and asking them to um, execute something, you are executing it yourself from your computer at your home. It just costs you some
Right.
coin off of that native chain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So um, there's this website called hexstreamers.com. The same guy who created Hex Radio app also created this website, and it's basically a TV guide for all the people who create content in the Hex community.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So the live stuff, the stuff that's going on live right then, will be listed at the top, and over
Oh.
here on the right side, it'll tell you how many people are watching it. That's kind of a fun feature. And if you levitate your mouse over the top of the tab here,
Mm-hmm.
it'll tell you the current price of Hex.
Oh. Okay.
But it's not showing me it because uh, my cursor's my cursor on my screen is in a different place than the cursor on the TV or the shared screen. So here are ones that have been offline for just a little bit, and then
Okay.
here are videos that have
Really?
been offline even longer. And so these are all in chronological order from the last time that they were live. And then on social media, we've been trying to branch out quite a bit. So here's some TikTok videos that are recent. You know, all of these were released basically today. And then down at the bottom, just 2 links for Telegram chat rooms.
That we saw earlier.
I hadn't specifically pointed it out yet. That audio that's at the YouTube video, that audio is a chat that's not listed here.
Oh,
It's the Pulse X chat, so I'm not really sure why Pulse X isn't listed in between these two. But this was the original Hex chat that was created years ago, like probably 3 or more years ago, and that's on Telegram, that Telegram app.
okay.
And then this Pulse Chain app is also on Telegram, or Pulse Chain Conversation is
Yeah.
also on Telegram. And those are places where there's a lot of admins and a lot of community members and a few scammers. So
Uh-huh.
they'll try to come in there and um, like the scammers will try to DM you whenever it is that you say that you have an issue, and they'll be like, "Oh, I can help you," but instead anybody who's new to it just only talk in the public chat so that everybody can read everybody else's responses, and they're not
Uh-huh.
getting you to do something stupid. Because believe it or not, whenever somebody tells you that something's secret or private, people still give it away thinking that somebody's out to help them. Silly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't want your wallet to get compromised today, and then in the future you being worth 1 million more or something like that, and then somebody says, okay, or like your scammer says, okay, now's the right time to steal that million back because it's grown so well, and the whole time it didn't occur to you that you had gotten hacked, or your privacy had been stolen way back then. So they
Mm-hmm.
take that money from you, and then they harm our community by dumping it on us. They like decide they're going to sell it all at one point, at one time, and then
Yeah.
that dumps our price. That makes our chart look bad. And so there's two sides to this. You know, we're trying to protect you, but we're trying to protect ourselves at the same time.
Yeah.
And then this guy, I'm pretty sure that I mentioned him last time. This guy's name is Matty Allen. That's M A. What's It's MATI space ALLIN. And so he runs the YouTube channel Matty Allen Hex Therapy Live. He is a retired therapist. He was able to retire because of Hex Token. He does our community good by caring about our mental health, and he runs um, the conferences. He's put it upon himself to be the guy who runs conferences. So this next weekend, Element and I are both going to Vegas because he's throwing a conference from the 6th to the 9th.
Yes,
This will
sir.
be yeah. This will be the second time that he's done a conference in Vegas, but he's done conferences online. And I'm like right here, my screen is capturing um, his most recent conference that he did in January, I believe. And so this is uh, day one of like a 4-day event. And I think it was it says that this video is 6 hours and 41 minutes. So he had something like 6 or 7 hours each day for 4 days. And it's basically like half an hour of each of the YouTube influencers, like people who have already put their face out in front of Hex, made themselves known within the community. And so like just really good people who have grown the community. He allowed them to have spots, and each person has their like contribution to the space, their different view. So like maybe one guy has a show every day where he just talks about the stats of Hex, like how many new people are in the system, how many people decided to sell, how many people decided they would buy. Were there any large stakes that were done that day, like $1 million worth or more? For how long? Uh, Maybe that's somebody's show, and then maybe another guy's show has to do with security, and so he talks about like best wallet practices or things that you should know about wallet code, or hardware wallets, like we were talking about earlier, where you have a separate device that okays a transaction physically in order for your wallet digitally to send it.
Mm-hmm.
So
You mean like Meta?
this guy's fun.
Um, the wallet you were mentioned before, Meta. What was it?
MetaMask,
MetaMask.
and you can find a link to it on
Yeah.
the hexnoob.com, but
Okay.
also just metamask.io
Yeah.
is the website. And then up here in the corner, um, in the top right corner, you see that download.
Mm-hmm.
And last time we talked, you said that you had a Google Chrome browser.
Right.
So you'll be able to just click this and uh, tell them that you're doing it for Windows, and it'll install it right into your browser. And you'll see this little fox inside of your browser, like
Uh-huh.
up to the corner. You'll see the icon, and
How much
then
is that wallet?
you can just click on it. It's free. This is free.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's a hard wallet.
It's a hot wallet
Oh,
on your
sorry.
browser.
So it's more secure, right? Being a hot.
Yeah. Okay, so
Cold
hot.
wallets are.
Yeah, cold wallets would mean that it's able to be off of the electricity
Yeah.
and kept off to the side, and then hardware wallet would be, or, I'm sorry, software wallet. A hot wallet would be this thing that I'm showing you on the computer, where it's just a piece of software. So it will have connection to the internet. But what you'll want to do is download this, and it'll give you um, passwords, and you save those passwords on a piece of paper for the time being until you understand how important it is that you keep those passwords. You'll start to figure out new ways of storing it.
Yeah.
But because um, because cryptocurrencies are laid out in like a table format, like a like cryptocurrencies, the attributions, I guess, the allocations of your tokens lining up with your address, the way that those two are recorded is kind of like a table format that's out there on the blockchain. And so anybody can see it. They just don't know that those value, or that is your address that holds those values, right? So it's everything is public information, and it's in a table format. Your address, the amount of tokens that you have inside your address, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what your passwords will allow you to do is to move and reallocate those tokens in that address. That's what your password is for.
Okay.
I may have done a really bad
still,
job of explaining that.
It seems like it's easy.
Hackable?
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult.
Okay.
And it's just a part. It's made into the architecture. It's a part of the structure of the codes. Like, how is it that your blockchain is created? So this MetaMask wallet, it only works on Ethereum.
Oh. But does it work with the HEX token?
Yes, because HEX token is built on Ethereum.
Yeah. So MetaMask is only for Ethereum.
Yes.
So if I wanted to,
You can,
do altcoins or whatever, I have to use other wallets.
yes, for the
Mhm.
most part. You
Mhm.
can toggle a setting that makes it to where MetaMask will read other chains,
Oh,
but for the most part, MetaMask is only for Ethereum.
okay.
And then your passwords will allow anyone access to move your funds around. So that's why you keep your passwords, and only when you know everything's secure, type them in to MetaMask, and MetaMask will allow you to have access to your funds where you can move them around. Because really, in cryptocurrency, all you can do is do a send function. Or I'm sorry. In Bitcoin is such a um, let's say a dumb dinosaur currency that the only function it can do is send coins.
Oh,
Ethereum has it to where you can do you can interact with the architecture that's built on top of the Ethereum architecture itself. So Ethereum, um, because the hex token is built the way that it is, you're able to interact with the hex contract and run the function of obtaining that interest. So that there's two different like organizations going on that I mentioned. And I'm trying to relate the access to the coins to the wallet, and how the wallet is the route to it. But anybody could have that wallet and those passwords in order to access your funds.
uh-huh.
Like, you could give me your passwords and I could get into it from my computer,
Mm-hmm.
because I'll just download that wallet and enter it in, and now I have permissions to the allocations that are inside of your address. And so if it is that you want to split up your allocations, like say you have a stake or an amount of liquidity in one wallet, and then another stake and liquidity in another wallet, and then say you have another wallet, so you have three wallets with an amount of liquidity in them where you could move the stuff around if you wanted to, and then you also have a stake in each of them, right, to where it's locked up in the contract and you're waiting a time period out. So say one of those wallets, um, you thought that like this is for security, that you divided them all up, and now you're thinking that you're not going to live for the full 15 years that one of those stakes wallets was. So you could just have that password and some instructions put away in your will
Mm-hmm.
to where later on somebody can go and access that.
Okay.
Anybody with that information could go and access that. Therefore, these
Mm-hmm.
these passwords, and if you were to back them up with a hardware wallet, a cold storage wallet, then that would be just as important to keep safe.
Yeah.
But these things are so important, and because crypto is growing so rapidly, we have the capability of taking control of finance. That's amazing. So it's going to grow very rapidly, and it's so important that like people are keeping these things inside of safety deposit boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
some people aren't saving them on paper; they're saving them on metal, like
Oh.
engraving it even.
Oh. What do you do then? Dig a hole, put it in the backyard?
Some
Hide it in
people
the
do,
wall.
believe it or not.
Give it its own coffin.
Yeah. Put it in a safe, bury the safe, and grow your garden over that. Yep.
Put it on a T-shirt, and then people just won't suspect it.
Yeah.
So some people are thinking of putting it inside of art,
Yeah.
where they recognize from memory what each of the phrases are when they look at a piece of art
Uh-huh.
to kickstart their memory. But it's advisable to have a bunch of small holdings. If say your account grows to 1 million, then divide that up into maybe 10 different wallets.
Yeah.
That way, one of them gets hacked. It's like, wow, it's not as bad as it could be.
100 grand here, 100 grand there.
See, so this guy, he created 4 days worth of content to where, we've got so much to watch in this community if people want to catch up to what we've been doing.
Really? So can I access last year's conference?
That was so when Hex Element and I are going to be in Vegas next week,
Uh-huh.
that will be live. So you'll be able to access that. And then also this right here is just on YouTube. If you go and click the subscribe
Mm-hmm.
for Maddie Allen Therapy Live, Hex Therapy Live. Yeah, you could watch this whole thing for free.
That was that last year
This
or
is
20?
January.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why it is that. Um, I guess what we do is we have an online conference, and then we also have one in person. I
Oh.
think, yeah, I think that's what Maddie was getting at, where we've got one that everybody just chimes in from around the world, and then we can clip it and share it because there are people inside of our community who make smaller videos,
Uh-huh.
faster videos to get a point across.
Okay.
You want to give it another week, another week of marination, and have more
Yeah.
questions and a few of the same questions maybe next week.
Yes. Yeah. Let me be prepared reading all my notes. Maybe I ought to really kind of make more sense out of them. They're written so quickly.
Here towards the end, my explanations haven't been that great, but in the beginning, I thought that I was making new routes to the same ideas that were pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got several pages from last time we talked. So, okay, so then you're gonna private message me. I'm gonna get on Telegram. I'm gonna join Hex chat and Pulse chain chat. I got a bunch of URLs you gave me as well.
So just to make sure that you connect to the right chats,
Yes.
you could,
Oh, look at Hex Telegram groups.
where is it? You see it
Down a
on the
little
screen
bit.
there?
Mm-hmm. Next one. No, where'd it go? There.
So this said only hex stuff,
Do
to
not
where,
respond.
so this is warning you of scammers.
Oh, really? Wow.
Like whenever you get into it, it's prepping you for the deep dive that you're about to make.
Wow.
So
Those are the scammers.
what this is
Jeez.
only hex stuff as opposed to pulse chain and pulse X. So the hex.com one right here in the top left is the original one. But what I was wanting to pull up was, where is it? I thought it was Hex Noob. Oh, at the bottom of what I was calling the TV guide.
Yeah.
So there's the original Hex chat link,
Uh-huh.
and here's the pulse chain.
And that's yeah, so that's what I show. That's on the hexstreamers.com, right?
Yes, yes. So
But I
those
can
are,
find that if I get on my Telegram, I can look up Hex chat, right?
yes.
I don't have to get on the
If you
this
look this
site.
up on your cell phone, these these planks, I guess, that are going from left to right,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be filling the entire space, and so you can just scroll down to the bottom. It's a really nice interactive screen. You can just scroll down to the bottom and click on these guys, and it'll immediately, want to take you into your Telegram app.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're set up.
Is there any comedy on this?
Yeah, actually, a guy
The
named
writing song.
a guy named Joker.
Yeah.
There's here's a here this guy is a DJ,
Oh,
so there's some music for you.
I
And
hope it's
then
Hendrix or Zeppelin.
this guy is, yeah, it's not. He's he's over in the Netherlands, I believe. Uh, this guy is up in Temple, Texas.
Oh, really?
So he talks a lot about Pulse Chain coming out,
Does
how
he?
it's a new infrastructure,
Oh,
and there's a guy in here somewhere who who is called Joker, but a lot of his stuff is geared towards the youngest generation right now.
what's the guy's name with the temple? I mean, what's the
That
channel?
he's up in Temple, Texas. His name is Crypto Heartbeat.
Yeah. And he talks about the
The
pulse.
he talks about Pulse Chain, yeah. The future of where crypto can go,
Mm-hmm.
and he's wanting to take the humanitarian route. He's worked for nonprofits his entire life. He's retired now. I say his entire life, but for the second half of his career, he's been working for nonprofits. And so he's a great speaker.
Okay.
And if you get any hex in your wallet, then, or if like whenever it is that you get your wallet set up, then you could start entering in. You could connect it to this website and
Mm-hmm.
start entering in values and see what sort of returns you could get. And then whenever it is that you have hex token and a little bit of Ethereum gas left over to run a stake, then you could operate the thing and press the little button right here, and then it'll show up down here in these columns.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what I'm getting at is if you download the MetaMask wallet, have it in your browser, and then visit this site, then you'll be able to actually toggle these values, like put values into it. Right now, it's not allowing me to do that.
Okay.
But there are other websites, stake hex today, the website. Stake hex today. This allows you to play with values over here.
Oh.
That's stakehex.today. And if it is that you had any wallet addresses already, you could enter it in here and and just watch their their performance. So there's a lot of tools created by the community to look at all the statistics, all the mathematics that are involved.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks for being here again.
Yeah. Okay, so you'll DM me and then
Yeah, I'll figure a way of forwarding you a private message.
okay.
And so what I'll give you is the Williamson County Freedom Cell
Yeah.
chat room, and then you can see what's going on in there.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And then
Cool.
are you going to do this next week or
Not
you
next
might, or-
week. Instead, we're gonna be in Vegas.
Oh, that's right.
So because that lies on a Tuesday, and so I'll be here in 2 weeks. And
Okay.
it's already, if you want to tag RSVP to that,
Oh, yeah.
the event has already been scheduled in the meetup space.
Okay. Well, thank you, Devin.
Thank you, Lori.
You guys have a good evening.
You too.
Yeah, you too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.